This video is about the German campaign against Napoleon and the invasion of France. These events happened in 1813 and 1814. On the one side we had France and initially her allies, the Confederation of the Rhine. On the other side there was Prussia, Russia, Austria, Sweden and the United Kingdom. Napoleon Bonaparte won several wars. France was the hegemonial power in Europe, but this position was now threatened for the first time after the French lost the Russian campaign 1812. It should be mentioned that the United Kingdom was in a state of war with France nearly all the time since 1793. To understand the German campaign, which is called the War of Liberation in Germany, you have to see the motivation of the people and the princes. The people developed a strong German national pride, and they wanted to liberate themselves from the French. The German princes, but also the European princes on the other hand, they just wanted to restore the old societal order, meaning absolutist monarchy, and they wanted to restore the international balance of power. Prussia, after her defeat, undertook significant reforms of her administration, society and military. As mentioned, the Grande Armée of Napoleon lost the Russian campaign, and in December 1812 the last French troops crossed the Niemen into Prussia. To explain this, Prussia was forced to support the French during the Russian campaign. But now the famous General Georg von Wartenburg declared the Prussian troops neutral with regards to the Russians. Furthermore, free course and conscription was introduced. Then there was the formal alliance between Prussia and Russia in February 1813. The Russians entered Berlin, and then the Prussian king demanded the People's War. And to explain this, the People's War was an important characteristic of the War of Liberation of the German campaign. But this German campaign was also a nation war. And Prussia used this instrument before. For example, the 7 Years' War, Prussia was near to extinction, and then groups of the population were included in defending the fatherland or fighting a foreign enemy that were formerly excluded. Napoleon was pretty sure that he will win this conflict. He wrote to his father-in-law, the Austrian emperor, "Everyone in France is under arms, and your majesty can rest assured that I will, as soon as spring arrives, expel the Russians quicker than they came." Firstly, the Allies advanced, but they had to retreat. They were defeated by Napoleon, and Napoleon won another battle and could take control over the area around Hamburg. So the whole thing is not absolutely clear here how this war will end. Then there was a truce, and during this truce, Austria, the Austrian Foreign Secretary Metternich, saw his chance to put Austria in the central position. He then joined the Allies, and there was the Congress of Prague peace negotiations, but they failed, and on the 11th of August, Austria declared war on France. With the treaties of Tablets, it was clear what Austria, Prussia and Russia wanted to achieve in this war. They wanted to restore Europe within the borders of 1805. Now both sides could reinforce their armies, and then it was game on. The Allies won several smaller battles, but then there was the last great victory of Napoleon, the Battle of Dresden. But that was not decisive. What should prove costly to Napoleon was that his important ally Bavaria changed sides. And it took not too long, then there was the decisive battle, the Battle of Leipzig. The Allied forces won. French troops had to retreat towards France, and by the 1st of January 1814, Prussian troops under Blücher crossed the River Rhine. Now Napoleon's power in France was declining and the Allies were advancing. Peace negotiations started with the Congress of Chatillon. The Allies took Paris, and the whole thing was over when Napoleon abdicated on the 11th of April 1814. That means Napoleon's rule over Europe ended, even though he should return for 100 days in 1850. In the meantime, he remained emperor, the title emperor, and received Elba. The Vienna Congress started in 1814, which should restore Europe and the old order in Europe. With regards to Germany, the War of Liberation, the German campaign, was the basis for the demand of the German people to form a unified German nation-state. This was the German campaign and the invasion of France in 5.